types of tools basically are there under the configuration management. And after that, we'll look Puppet in detail today, right? So let me share my screen first, and we'll start after that. Yeah, so I think my screen is visible to you all. See the guys, actually, why do we need configuration management? So first we'll try to understand this, and after that we'll go in details like what are the different types of configuration management, right? So suppose if there is a developer in company and he is responsible for all the development works, whatever the releases used to come, and he used to write the codes, and he used to give it to the ops guy, and the ops guy is responsible to put it into the production after the testing and all, right? So suppose developer is writing a code, and that code is compatible with PHP 5.7 and MySQL 4.7. So uh, it uh, it should be the case, right? So like the application, sometimes the application is compatible with 5.7, and some times application is not compatible with 5.8 or something, right? So we need to maintain this version, like PHP and software version also in organization. So it is very important. So after the development, when this developer has submitted the code to uh, the ops guy, so the ops guy has to uh, like the responsibility of the ops guy is to keep that code into more than 100 servers, and that depends actually. So so if the company is big, so the number could be more than 1,000 servers, right? So and before the configuration management, these all things they used to do manually. They used to do manually, and it is very hectic, uh, like hectic job for them. And suppose the thing is that like if tomorrow a developer has got some new requirement, and uh, like and the developer has found so in PHP 5.10, so that is so basically uh, in PHP 5.10 some plugins has came, and the code is very less, right? So what developer will do, so developer will just upgrade his version into his computer from 5.7 to 5.10, so like that. And he will after the development and all, he will be sending the same he will be sending the code to the ops people. And and now the problem starts here. So as the developer has upgraded the same thing, because developer is developing the code into a single system, right? But the code has to go into more than 500 600 servers. So it is very hectic job for the ops people to configure the version of PHP 5.7 to 5.10 into all the 500 systems, right? So to deal with this kind of problems, we have uh, we have uh, we have different type of tools actually. As a part of configuration management, we have many tools. So if you will consider if you will consider pull configuration, so we have many tools. If you will consider push configuration, so we have many tools. But we will try to study the Puppet as a pull configurations and Ansible as a push configuration. So uh, we'll go in detail what is push configuration, what is pull configuration. So first, the thing is that yeah, so this kind of problem configuration management tool used to solve, right? So so the thing is that there will be a single master server. So on the master server, that ops guy will upgrade the version from 5.7 to 5.10, and all the slave servers like 500 to 600 servers will be connected to the master, and the changes will be reflected in all the servers. Means the ops guy don't have to go to a single server and they need to do the things. So this is the funda for the of the configuration management. And the configuration management is a system engineering process for establishing and maintaining consistency of the product's performance, functional and physical attribute with its requirement, design, operational information throughout its life. So it's not like that it's new, right? So the concept of the configuration management is there from 2004 only. So when the big companies like Google, Microsoft has introduced SRE into their company. So software reliability engine kind of people to their company. So from that time only, people had started to look these all kind of automation. So this configuration management is nothing but it's a more, you can think it of like it's kind of automation. So basically it will automate the manual process, manual intervention of a person in different servers. So right, so it has started from 2004 only, but after 2015, after 2014-15, the stable version, I can say, people have started from 2004 only, but the stability and new tools, and still these all things are in still these all things are in uh, like uh, in alpha phase. So like all the things are there. If you will look for the Ansible, so you have the latest version of Ansible is 2.8. So still more and more development is going on in this field actually. So and the end goal is to automate all kind of stuffs. There should not be any manual intervention. So earlier, what used to happen? So if company is managing 1,000 servers, right? If company is managing 1,000 servers, they used to take 30 to 40 guys. So 30 to 40 guys, and they used to give like 30 servers to each. So 31 people will manage, 30 other people will manage, and the thing is that like the job will be same for all the people. So it is very this configuration management used to save lots of cost, uh, lots of cost in the company, right? So so here the same thing what configuration management will do. So just you will configure PHP 7.0 and MySQL 5.6, and after that all the slave servers. So basically these are the slave nodes. All the changes will be reflected in the slave nodes. So this is the concept of your configuration management, and like these are the ideologies basically what configuration management used to achieve in a company. So it promotes automation. It like it promote consistency. So suppose if you had configured anything into the master, and all the slaves has been connected to the master. So in that case, what will happen? Changes will be like the same changes will be getting reflected in all the slaves, right? It's not like that. So suppose if human will be there, then it might be a case like he has done some mistake in a single server in like in two servers, so like that. But these kind of things is not there when you are using configuration management. So consistency is also there. Software updates. So as I told you, like if there is any software update, so you can do it. Uh, you can do it with the help of configuration management. Software rollbacks is also possible with it. And now coming to the architecture of the configuration management. So we have a two kind of architectures in configuration management. One is the pull configuration and other one is the push configuration. So basically what happens in these two. So in and the thing is that like master slave concept will be there in both. A master slave concept will be there in both. Either it is a pull or it's a push. So in pull configuration, what it will happen? So there will be a one master server, and with one master server, there will be n number of slave servers will be connected with a single master, and whatever the change you will be doing into the master server, so slave server will pull that request. Some commands basically you need to go into the slave server and you need to execute that basically. I will show you that because today we'll be dealing with this pull configuration. So basically what you will be doing, you will be configuring the like you will be having a master and you will be having an agent, and you will be configuring all the masters, configuring the first you will be configuring masters into the master server, and you will be configuring agent into all the slave servers. So basically you need to configure in both the servers, in master also and in slave also. And you need to go into the slave and you need to execute a command. Like you need to execute a command which will pull all the changes, what all the changes has been done in the master server. So you need to go to the slave server and you need to execute a command. It will be a single command. It's not like that means whole configurations you need to do in slave. So just you need to execute a single command, and with that single command, all the things will be uh, reflected into your slave servers. So this is a concept of pull configurations, and this pull configurations. So people have started in as I told you, like this concept has been started from 2004 only, right? So people have started from this concept only, pull configurations. So, and for your information, Ansible is the pull configuration management tool. Ansible is a Puppet. Puppet is a pull configuration management tool. And now coming to the push configurations. So what you will be doing here also the concept will be the same. There will be a one master and there will be a n number of slaves will be associated with a single master. And you will be doing all the changes. So basically you will be configuring your master, what you want to reflect in all the slave nodes, right? So you will be doing that, and with a single command. So uh, single command you will be running into your master server, and all the slave, you don't need to go to the slave servers, you slave, and you need to basically you don't need to visit into the slave server and you need to execute any sort of command. So what you need to do here, all the slave informations, so all the slave IPs I can say, because server is identified by the IP. So all the IP will you will be configuring into the host of this master. And when you will be so after the configurations, as soon as you will be executing a single command here onto the master server, all the configurations will be sent to your slave server. So this is a very like very used configurations used in industry, right? Here basically you don't need to go to the slave. You don't need to go to the slave, and here you don't need to install any kind of agent. Only some sorts of requirement will be there that you need to install. So when I will talk about Ansible, so in that case only Python you need to install in all the slave servers, and on the master server you will be installing all the Ansible configurations. So this is a very like this is a very used configuration tool in the industry. So Google, NASA, these all basically uses this type of push configuration. And in pull configuration, so basically you need to visit into the slave server, and after that you need to execute a command to get reflected, uh, for the changes to be get reflected. So now coming to the tools basically. So as a part of pull configuration, as I told you, we have a Puppet and Chef. These two tools is a part of the pull configurations. And for the push configuration, we have Ansible and SaltStack. So these two tools, and not only these two, there are lots of tools are there in the market. So uh, if I am not wrong, HP and all used to have their internal tools. They used to develop these kind of tools internally, and they used to use it. So there are lots of tools, but these four are very popular. That's why I had put into my slide. So these four tools are very popular, and in pull configuration, Puppet is the most popular one, and in push configuration, Ansible is the most popular one. So, and all are configuration management tools. But the thing is that uh, they varied in terms of their architecture. So you understood the concept of pull and push configuration. So Puppet will be a type of pull, and Ansible will be a type of push configurations, right? And as a part of our course, we will be studying the Puppet and Ansible. Yeah. So why we will be studying this Puppet? Because Puppet is an open source software configuration management tool. It runs on many Unix like system as well as Microsoft Windows. Yeah. So the thing is that with Puppet, uh, suppose if you had configured anything in your uh, uh, anything on your Unix server. So suppose if there is any other suppose you are using uh, RHEL Red Hat Linux for your master, and there are many you have many nodes. So some nodes are running on Ubuntu, some nodes are running on RHEL, or some on CentOS. So like that. Here, it's a platform independent kind of thing. Only the thing is that, as I told you, the IP you need to add it into the etc host. So after that, all the changes will be uh, and you must be having the puppet master the master on the master server, and Puppet agent on all the slave server, right? So all the changes will be up there in your slave. And so Puppet has been, as I told you, it's been developed from 2004 only. So it's a large user base is there for the Puppet. It's a big open source community. So you have a very big open source community for the Puppet. So suppose if you're facing any kind of issues, so you can just go to the you can just go to the platforms support of the Puppet, and you can have your questions answered there. And the documentation is also great. So I will show you I will show the documentation today. So documentation is also very user friendly, I can say. Like you can just go and you can use it. And about the Puppet, you don't need to program anything here. You don't need to write code and all. So basically, there is a concept called manifest. Just you need to follow the basics of the manifest, and you need to configure the manifest. That's it. So if you want to use Puppet, so it's not like that means you need to have a understanding of any programming language. Only the thing is that you need to have a basic understanding of operations, so how ops used to perform. So that understanding is enough to use Puppet. And as I told you, like you have a very good documentations for it. You can go through that, and you can configure the thing. Coming to this Puppet architecture. So as I told you, Puppet follows a master slave architecture. So there will be a one master, and there will be a n number of slaves will be there. And so how the communication being there in Puppet. So first, you will be having your puppet master, and you will be having your n number of puppet slave. So as this is the pull configurations management tool, so it's the pull configuration. So communication will be initiated by puppet slave. So the puppet slave will be all the times puppet slave will be initiating the communication here. So slave sends machine metadata or state to master. So see, so if you have if you have PHP 5.0 on your master, and the same like PHP 5.0 on the slave, so in that case the state of the two server is the same. You can think you can think in this way. So if this puppet master has the PHP configured 5.0, so and in slave also the configuration of PHP is 5.0, so in that case the state of these two servers are same. As soon as you had you did any changes here, so you had modified any things like, suppose you had modified from PHP 5.0 to 8.0, so in that case there will be a state mismatch. There will be a state mismatch, and the slave will try to grab that slave will try to grab that mismatched state, and it will try to install the same things on the slave. And so master does an analysis on the data, and if any changes is needed, sends the required changes to the slave. So as I told you, if there is a 5.8, so master will be sending that to the slave, and the slave will be installing it into their server. And after that the slave will be sending a confirmation, so reports back to a master of the changes. So slave again will sending the report back to the master, it has been done. So this kind of internal so basically this kind of internal mechanism is there in the puppet. And how this communication, so suppose this puppet slave has initiated the uh, has initiated a call to the master. So basically these all used to happen as a encrypted SSL. So first, basically, you need to configure SSL, and with that SSL only, so these all configurations used to be in place. So we'll show you that. So I will be showing you as a part of demo how to do that. So this set of things used to happen. So first, Puppet slave will request a master certificate to the Puppet master, and Puppet master will send the master certificate. And after that, Puppet master will be requesting a slave certificate also. It will be requesting a slave certificate, and the slave will be sending its certificate to the master. And after that, what used to happen, as soon as the slave has sent its certificate to the master have to sign that certificate. Master will be signing that certificate, and after that only the communication between this puppet slave and master will be take place. So this is the steps basically what used to happen when. So and again, so here I has taken on only a single slave, so this could be a n number, like this could be a 100 200 slaves, but the mechanism will be same for all the slaves. So all the slaves need to request master certificate from the master, and after that the master will be asking the slave certificate. So these all things used to happen after you had configured the IP into the host. So after that only these all things will happen. So first you need to add the master IP to all the slave nodes. After that only these all things will happen. Right. Okay, so without wasting any more time, just we'll grab two EC2 instances from the AWS console, and we'll try to configure this. So whatever we had talked, actually, we'll try to configure as a part of the Puppet master and slave. Right. Just give me a minute. I will be back. So we'll grab two EC2 instances, and one will configure as a master and the other one as a slave. Basically here, one thing you need to remember, so you need to just configure the security groups also in case of the communication, as you know, right? Because two servers will only be communicating to each other when you had configured the correct inbound or outbound rules for that, right? But for a demo purpose, I will be allowing all the traffic. So we have two servers now, and one I will be configuring as a puppet slave, and the other one is puppet master. And slave could be n numbers, like slave could be any numbers you can take. Master will be one. Yeah. So we'll SSH into the master first, and after that we'll SSH into the slave. So first we'll do master configurations, and after we'll come to the slave. We'll change the color. We'll change it to green. Green will be master, and the other color will be slave. So first we need to sudo apt get update. First we will be updating, and there is a list of command basically you need to run as a part of the slave and as a part of the master. I will be sharing you this command. Or wget is there. So basically we will be taking it from a website. So I think wget will be there, right? It's there, and we will be taking the uh, .diff file from the this website aptpuppetlabs.com. So now we'll unpack it. Right, now we'll install the Puppet Master. So first, as I told you, first we are configuring the Puppet Master. After that, we'll go to the slave. So I will install Puppet Master here with this command apt get. First, you need to get it from the. First, you need to get .deb from the website, and after that, you need to unpack it, and after that, you need to install it with the help of these three commands. And basically this under this location etc default puppet master, you need to just specify this argument. So basically this argument states that see by default your puppet will take 1 GB of the memory. So 1 GB of the memory it will take by default. So but the thing is that like in our case we are not dealing with multiple loads, right? So and our CPU is itself is like 1 GB, so it's a t2 nano, right? So just we'll change this argument under this location. So under this location we will be changing the argument. So basically it will just take your 512 MB of the space. Right now, so basically this command will tell you either the Puppet Master has been installed or not into your system. So here you can see, right, Puppet is installed and the candidate is Ubuntu. So Puppet is installed now. Now what we need to do, we need to just allow this port basically on which the communication will happen. So basically what I did, I had added a rule into the route table. So now we'll restart the Puppet Master. Yeah, so the Puppet Master has been configured now. Now we will be configuring the Puppet slave. First, we'll updating our. After that, again we need to take the configuration from the same website. But what will be the difference? I will tell you. So if you will observe here, now into the slave node we are just installing the Puppet. We are not installing this Puppet master. So onto the master node we had installed the Puppet master, right? Into the slave we are installing the only the Puppet. So it's installed now. Yeah. Now one of the most important step we need to do. So basically, as I told you, in all the host you need to add the master IP. So you will go here, and after that you need to add your master public IP on which the communication will happen over the internet. And you need to specify this name also, Puppet. If you will do any spelling mistake or anything, then it will be result in error. So be very careful while configuring this settings. We are using only 2 servers, so so we are specifying. So suppose if you are using 100 servers, so in all the 100 servers you need to specify this master IP onto all the slaves. So it got so up to here we had performed these steps. So we had configured the master and slave, right? So how I can say like this slave is this is a slave to this Puppet. So we had configured we had installed the Puppet slave into this and Puppet master into the master node, and we had connected these two via IP, right? Here we had specified under the Puppet slave we had specified the IPv4 of this Puppet master. Now it's the certificate things we need to do.
But you use same IP, right? Gosh.
Yeah. So that's the master IP, right? Master IP we need to specify. This is a master IP, and this master IP we need to uh, use in all the. So slave will be
Public
connected.
master. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
All the slaves will be. So basically, we are connecting all the slaves to the master. That's why.
Yeah. That I
That's why
said.
we had specified no, the master IP into the host of the slave. And why we had specified here, so that we need to do actually, because 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 here if you will see only local host is there, right? So we are not dealing. So the same thing if you are doing into the local, so in that case it will okay. So you don't need to do that. But here we are not into the local host. We are into the like public internet, right? So that's why we have to specify like this here into the master also.
Okay. Sure.
So now coming to the okay, so we did that. Now coming to the most important part, we need to configure certificates. So we need to start this. So Puppet will be so Puppet we had installed over the slave, and Puppet master we had installed over the master. So that we need to remember. And this I am executing into the slave node. So if you have 1,000 slave nodes, so you need to configure these things. So as a whatever 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 the package or command it's written under the slave, so you need to configure in all the 1,000 servers the same thing. You need to repeat this step. So it is not it is now enable also. Now we'll configure the certificate. So if, as I told you, means if you will go here, see, we have a request from the slave server. So 172.31.55.193 is the slave server. So we had configured the, we had configured the host, right? We had configured the master host inside this path. So /etc/hosts we had configured. So as soon as we had configured and as soon as we had started this Puppet and enabled this Puppet, so a request has been, so if you will come to this diagram, a request has been sent from the slave. The request has been sent from the slave to uh, uh, like a certificate request has been sent from the slave to the master. And now what is the job of master? Master has to sign the slave certificate in order to authenticate slave to access Puppet master. So basically now this master have to just authenticate this request. So basically this request has came from this IP 172.31.55.193, and that is the IP of the slave, right? This is the IP of slave, and we need to just accept the request now. So as soon as the request has been accepted, so this slave, this Puppet slave will be a slave to this Puppet master, right? So basically the uh, connection is being established after this. So we'll do that with the help of this command. So suppose if we had configured 1,000 servers, 1,000 slave servers, so in that case master will have here all the in that case master will have 1,000 requests, 1,000 requests from all the 1,000 slaves. So with the help of this command, sudo puppet cert sign dash dash all. So basically if there is 1,000 requests, so all requests will be accepted with the help of this command. So it's not like the request has been accepted, signed. Now this slave is there to the now the like now the thing is that like whatever the changes we will do. So if we will pass any like if I will pass any thing like I need to install Nginx, so the slave, so we need to execute this command. We need to execute this command basically. Yeah, this command on the agent